moved. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A Lot of Help with James Lott Jr. I am James Lott Jr., a certified life coach and professional organizer and all other things media. This guest is a returning guest, which I love when I have returning guests because there's always stuff to talk about. There's always stuff to help people with and share knowledge, which is what I like to do on this show. This show's been going on for almost 5 years. I'm very proud of it. I'm glad I've been doing it for so long. And she's one of my favorites. And she knows this guy. We see each other online. But last time she was on the show, I was actually at her place in person back when you did such things. But yes, so now we're doing this through the Zoom universe. She is an award-winning addiction specialist, of course, trauma resident specialist, addiction specialist certifications, master's in divinity and metaphysics. We're going to talk about something that's going on right now, which is the holiday season and mental things that go on during this time period. My friend, Miss Audrey Hope. Hello, Audrey.
Great to see you, James. I saw you before the whole COVID thing.
We did. We saw each other. I went to your house. We filmed there. We sat and talked afterwards. Had a great time. You had a great place. You said you moved.
Yes, I recently moved. Yes, we were thrown out, worried in this environment. Yeah. You know what was going to happen. We ended up at the most magnificent place.
Oh, good.
Which just goes to show you, you have to have trust. Yes. When things happen that might not look so good. Just hold on. You could be like clearing, ready to move on to a new thing. But I have to tell you, you look better than ever. I feel like you're really free in your muscles. Like there's like a flexibility. I don't know what that's about, but like you're moving and shaking. So
I was telling her off camera, she said something to me a couple of years ago that came true. So I trust anything she says. I trust it. Like I just completely trust it because she says it because it came true. But I do. I as we're talking about mental issues and things that are going on, I do feel better. And I think with the pandemic, we'll start the pandemic as we lead into the holiday season. Last year was a reset button for me. I know for many people, it was a reset button where I was able to go, okay, now what? And the things that were not working before really were not going to work. And I really had to sit down and change. Do you find that's a common thing you may hear or see?
Well, I think what you just described is what's happened to everybody.
Yeah.
A big cosmic ultra mother effing
seriously, right? I mean, seriously.
Wow, every curse word you can think of. Reset button. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like God said, everyone stop.
Yes.
Go home.
Yes.
Do not do what you usually do.
Correct.
And stay still. Mm-hmm. And recalibrate, yes. Reorganize,
yes.
Think about what's going on, what you want, think about who you're with.
Yes.
Do you want to continue with
yes.
that partner? Yeah. What you want to do with your life? And then we'll let you know when you can go out again from your cave. And, hopefully you'll survive it.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened to everyone. What an SH, which is, can I curse?
Yes, you can. Everyone together.
What a shit show.
It was.
Right. But when you heal, you have to understand that everything has to come out in the open in order to see it. And especially in the world and in, our city and country.
Yeah.
We didn't know things were going on, but they are now in our face. And that's a very good thing. So what I say to everyone is we got to change our perspective on what's happened.
Yes. And I know a lot of people tell me, they almost say it in hushed tones, I had a good year last year, or I had a good year. Like they almost don't want to say it out loud because they did all what you just said and they worked on themselves and their businesses, they're just getting even better. And I said, don't say it hushed tones, say it proudly. Like, you're not trying to down anybody else who had a hard year, just saying that you're an example of that you did come through it, right? Is that am I thinking?
Yes,
right?
And I think human beings are extremely resilient. Yes. I think we are so creative. The way we dealt with it and got online and used social media and used Zoom and, survived has been incredible. our resiliency.
Yeah.
So we're really tough people. And I think it's important that we look at that. We really see what we're made of.
Yeah. But as you know, we talked about before a little bit on the last show, people have a hard time looking at themselves. As you think it'd be easy. They go, oh, look at myself. I'm not telling anybody, it's just me. But no, it's the hardest when you look inward and bring it all to the light. And like I said, last year, and even parts of this year, that's what's had to happen. It literally had to happen. People are in their homes
Yes.
going, my house is not what it should be. My husband is not who he should. Like everybody's feeling all like you really couldn't run, could you?
And that's the thing. Many years ago, you might be able to run and you might be able to hide and you might be able to deny. But this is a crossroads. This has been a spiritual prophecy. We all knew, who were really, tuned in, that something was going to happen. And so we didn't quite know which way it would happen,
Yeah.
through COVID or through, all the things that did happen. But we knew that something would be a dividing line spiritually. And so you would sometimes have years to decide what you want to do. But now it's over. It's on everyone's doorstep. Everyone's alarm clock is ringing, and there's no place to hide. And you have to deal with your issues. And again, James, that's a really good thing, because we're all in a wake-up call. We've been in slumber.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to see that and understand crucifixion to resurrection
Mhm.
and alchemy, lose to find, a caterpillar to butterfly. You have to change and transform. And we're not quite at the end point yet where we get to see the benefits of all this, but to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven, right?
Right.
And so we're cyclical, and we're going to come to a cycle, and it could be kind of magnificent. We could be getting to that point where we've taken all our lessons. We're not as superficial. I find people, can't be that superficial anymore.
Hmm.
Even in the dating world, who has
Right.
time for just like hookups,
Right. Right.
just, it's, we're sort of like in gratitude for what we do have now, which is a wonderful thing.
Audrey, you'll laugh, but I had to laugh too. The first time I went to a restaurant and got waited on, I got a tear in my eye. Like seriously, I was
Wow.
like, I'll take some water and bread. Thank you. Like, I mean, I wasn't even eating bread, but I'll take some water and bread. Sure. Like it was like I don't have to wash the dishes afterwards. Like, and you could tell the wait staff was like, we got a job again. Like we're actually able to make some money. Like it just felt like this experience that we were
Wow.
having together that was almost serious. Yet it was like I'm having a night out, just eating some food with my friends, but we all kind of got emotional about it. It was kind of like, and I didn't expect that the first time that happened to me. I
Yeah,
didn't.
we're all in this together, which is a really good thing to understand, right? We are all one. We are all in this together, and we have to be kind and compassionate. And and you can sort of see what it's bringing up in people. All the unkindness and ugliness is coming up too, and we'll see what happens with that.
Well, no, you said on my show about you said that we were leading towards this kind of stasis of sorts in life because the whole we were this was before pandemic, folks. We did not know it was a pandemic coming. She was saying that we were leading towards some kind of general rebirth or something. I forgot the words you used, but I think it's ironic that did happen. Like literally a year or so
Right.
later, it happened.
Right. Well, there's been prophecies. There's been prophecies about the age of Aquarius,
Yeah.
about the lineup in the sky, about this time period. And so if you look at old books, and you'll find it, so here it is. And on a spiritual level, we need to welcome it. We need to welcome it because we need to transform and grow. And that's what's happening. And sorry for all the pain, but unfortunately, pain is a wake-up call. And if we viewed pain in a different way and hang on through it, it will definitely teach us. But what happens is we reject pain. We go, oh no, oh no. We avoid the suffering. But it's like a bully. You got to take it out, look at it in the face, and deal with it head on, and not be afraid of pain.
Well, you know, you mentioned pain. I remember being in high school when we were growing, you know, and I remember one summer I grew like 3 inches or whatever, and it hurt, like literally hurt. And I was told that's a growth spurt. So I
Yeah.
was almost told that that's just part of the process. And so yeah, it's gonna hurt a bit. But you're right, and somehow I got older, that stopped being taught. It's like, no, 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 we gotta avoid pain. You gotta protect yourself.
Yes.
You can't let it in. But like, why aren't we thinking of them like growth spurts? Like that's what it should be, right? I mean, there are
Right.
times that it's painful.
I always say, James, no one left us a manual. They didn't leave us the how-to book.
Right.
Okay. They didn't leave us the guidebook.
Right.
That is the problem. When you know how to play at the game of life, you're good to go. Okay. So as a spiritual game of life, if you want, authenticity, you better watch out, because it's not going to be an easy path. Everything that's not of the light will come to your front door. Everything that needs to be healed will come to your front door. Every relationship that, you need to heal and deal with will come. Get an old call from an old boyfriend or
Yes,
girlfriend.
yes.
That's the game of life. And so if you understand that, that will take down the suffering. So I try to provide the guidebook, on how it really works. Even with addiction, it brings you to your knees. So you begin to do the healing that is necessary. On our knees, we begin to look up. That's the way it is. So if we see it that way, and we understand even heartache, and relationships in that, we will be able to learn from them instead of being stuck in the suffering.
I guess it's the whole thing of changing your mind from why is it happening to me to I'm glad it's happening kind of thing, where it's like it's not just happening to me. It's not happening to me. It's happening because this is the way life works, and whatever has led up to this point has brought this out. So now
Yes.
here it is. Not just
Here it is.
it's coming.
And to make it, and to make it simple, here's it to make it simple. I call it the New York version.
I love it. You know, it's New York. I love New Yorkers. Yes, let's do it.
Just whatever comes to your front door is next. Some people say, well, what do I do? Watch what comes knocking. That's what's next.
I like
whatever
that.
Issue comes to your door is next. Yeah. Whatever person comes to your door is next. And just follow the yellow brick road.
I like that. No, but I like that. No, I do. I like that. And I think, seriously, I have handled things as they came.
That's good.
And I do feel freer. I mean, it's hard, but you do feel freer. So when it kind of comes up again, like, oh, I've seen you before. I know you. I know.
Yes. And what do people do? They run the other way.
Right.
Okay, here comes the issue. I'm going to go do some drugs, get high.
Right.
I'm going to hide from this one. Oh no, please. Right. You see? And that we need to do opposite. We need to run towards it and go, okay, anxiety, I am here. You're not going to frighten me. It's like running towards a demon. You got to run right to it. And you got to say, you're not scaring me. Look, I'm going to deal with you. And that's how you deal with bullies. And so, with trauma, the thing is, I remember even with the LA fires.
Oh yeah.
You can't say you're okay and you're fine when you're not. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't do that, because if you do that, the trauma will stay inside and grow and fester. And then one day it will come a knocking and it will be huge. And you'll go, why now? Wait a minute, that was 30 years ago, because it was festering. So that happens a lot with PTSD and trauma. It will get activated. So I suggest for all those listening to understand that COVID has been heavy.
Yes.
Heavy in the body. And if you have a physical manifestation, it could really be emotional. And you got to understand that the physical is the last thing to get it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand to read your body, go inside where the pain is and say, what the hell is really going on? Because we can't be okay with what has happened to us. We just can't. It's impossible.
I agree. I totally agree. So we had last year, we had holiday season came, of course, and it was a little different last year than it is this year, but still tough for many people. So some of us are not traveling to see our family. Some are, some can, some can't, for various reasons. Some are divided because of what's been going on. We have all that going on. So there's a lot of trauma happening presently for a lot of people especially the holidays are already a tough time, a minefield. I should say a minefield for many people, right?
So true. Yes, it's so true. And now it's just exaggerated. So James, I just did a show on KPFK. It was amazing because it was a call-in show.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I learned so much. People called in for a half hour. You know, I did this interview and then they called in. And you know what they asked about? How do I survive my family?
So that's legit.
One call after another.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I want to deal with that in the New York real way.
Let's do it, girl. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
And without making it, oh, I need to be nice because it's my aunt or my uncle, or we're gonna go forget that BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
We all need to take care of ourselves extra carefully. And we need to assess who's dangerous for us, who's toxic for us, and who might be the psychic vampire in the room.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Psychic
now
vampire, yes.
that's wisdom. Okay, if that's wisdom, to know which one's going to say the thing that's going to get us going, because we're all very gentle in our hearts right now. Anything could set us off.
Yes, that's true. Very true.
Right?
Yes.
So we need to have a shield, which is to protect ourselves as we go. And we really can have a spiritual shield, which is to create it 2 feet around us, all around us, and go in protected like you would if you were in a war zone.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Okay. You go shielded and protected. And then you assess who's going to be at the party, who activates you. Be very careful and know what to say to them and when to, leave, and when to get going if they activate you. So really, number one, assess the relatives.
I like that. Read the room. Know the room.
Read the room.
Read the room. I like that.
Know the room.
Yes.
That is it 50% right there.
Yeah. So I want to stop right there for a second. We want to talk through this with you. So that part I agree with because cousin so-and-so, she's a staunch Republican, you're a Democrat. So-and-so doesn't like the fact your hair is long, and she always wonders how your hair is long. Or grandma so-and-so says you're fat. So I feel like what you're saying in many ways is, okay, identify the identifiers. Who are they? And what are the things that they could possibly push your button? What are your button pushers? Right? They kind of what you're saying at first, kind of figure
yes.
it out first.
Figure out the button pushers. Now, things to say, the comeback lines.
Yes.
I've got to leave now and go to the bathroom. That's always a good one. I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah.
And how are you doing? What's going on with you? Just like tennis, throw it back in their faces. But don't feel that you are obligated to make them first and you're number 2. You have to be number 1, and you cannot fulfill family obligations first. That is very important. Well, I have to go. I have to talk. I have to go to that party, when you really need to take care of yourself and you don't want to. So family obligations is another thing. You're first.
You're first.
What do you need to do? Now, if you need to stay home in your pajamas and watch a movie, go for it.
Right.
Why not? Take care of yourself. Okay. And plan strategies and plan. If things are not going well for you now, you're alone, you broke up with someone, you lost someone, maybe to COVID. Don't live in the moment. Plan. know that, I'll get through this and tomorrow will be a better day. And I always say feng shui, feng shui, clear out things in your house, get
Oh
ready
yeah.
for
Oh
the new
yeah.
year and create your life in the new year. That is very powerful to do. Might not be now, but it's coming. What do I want to create in the new year?
But Audrey, so I agree with all that. It sounds good, but some people have a hard time when it comes to family. They're fine when it comes to their jobs. It's fine when it comes to some of their friendships. But when it comes to family, they have a hard time putting themselves first, though. It's such an interesting
That's
thing.
right.
Like other
That's
parts
right.
of their lives, they have no problem standing for themselves and say, "No, I'm not going to do that." But when it comes to family, because you said it several times, which I agree with you, we say it all the time. Well, it's my aunt, it's my grandma. It's like you assume that because they're your blood relations or whatever, they can do whatever they want to you because that's just part of what family does.
That's right.
How do we start to turn that around a little bit? I mean,
Well, understand the manual. The family is the first initiation.
okay, that's true, right? Okay, like that.
If
Yeah.
you can get through the family, they will activate you, they will bring up your issues. But if you can get through that first, it's called the wound of the tribe.
Mm,
And we have to understand spiritually that the closer someone is to us, the more they're going to activate us. So you have to understand that. And wherever they activate us, we can use that as a mirror to investigate what we need to heal in ourselves. So it's a mirror, and we could, instead of blaming or doing that, use it as a healing formula to decide what you need to heal in yourself as a mirror. And yes, it's hard, James, but things are hard. And wherever it's
we're right,
hard,
right.
you're this much away from a spiritual, you're like breaking karma, you know, go through the hard things because there's a gift waiting at the other side of it. So face it, don't run from it because it will just come again.
No, I'm glad. No,
So
I'm glad you just said that. No, it is. We're breaking it down, folks. Life is hard, folks. It is. There's nothing. I mean, I wish it did. I wish it all came easy. I wish it did. Right, Audrey. I wish it all came
oh
easy.
my God, that
That'd be
is the
great.
truth of truths. Now, the more you're on this journey, the harder it is. Why don't people know that? The more light you have, the more the opposite comes to get you.
I'm seeing.
That is absolutely a fact.
I
And I
agree.
had teachers who said it's an honor when you're attacked. People think opposite. Oh, I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go to
Yeah.
temple. I'm going to go down on my knees. And then everything's going to be in nirvana. That is a crock of shit.
Yes.
That is, it is so obvious. It is so opposite.
Yes.
I know for me, my husband, my
Right.
friends who've been
You're
on
right.
this path, we have got knocked on every weakness that we've had. It has been a very, very hard journey.
Yes.
And now that we know it, we're like, okay, we'll go through the next thing. And so knowing that, you can handle it.
I agree. No, no, you're right. I never heard it that way before. I love that you just said that. Because I've been on this journey for 20 years or so of my adult life, and even though I feel freer in many ways, it does get a little harder because something else comes up, and you're like, okay, now I know that isn't good, but I have to face it. And I have to somehow figure this out. Because I'll relate to COVID. So I'll tell you this quick story, Audrey. A close cousin of mine decided to get married. And folks get some context. I live in Orange County, which is south of Los Angeles, a very different world than what I live here in Los Angeles. And I just asked a simple question: you're having this big wedding. Are there any mask mandates? This was earlier in the year. Mask mandates, any vaccination stuff? And they were told no. I was told no, not at all. And so it hit me in the face how just matter of fact that he was, how direct it was. There was gonna be, and he went to this whole diatribe about why he's not doing it. I'm like, okay, so I was scared. Because I mean we're close, we're close, we're cousins. I wanted to be there for the wedding, but I chose not to go.
Wow.
I chose I head on. I told him why I didn't want to go. I was afraid to tell him this, but I told him why I was not going.
Excellent.
Because I had to. It's like because I know that if he's being direct to me about how he feels, I should meet him there, right?
Fantastic.
So it was hard. It was hard. No, it was hard. Trust me, it was hard, but I did.
That was really that's an example of taking care of yourself. You see, And this whole thing of this divide you were mentioning, this divide, it's all a trick. It really is.
Right.
It's also a spiritual thing. Confuse and divide and take over. It's a
Yes.
triangle. Here it is. Take over from the top and keep north and south, east and west, black, white,
Yes.
Jew, Christian in the dilemma. And then you get them. And then you do that also personally. You bring up shame and guilt, and now you divide. So anytime you divide, it's a way to take over. So I wish that everyone would just understand that and not play into it. It's the oldest trick
I
in
know.
the
You're
book.
right.
You see?
Right.
So we need to stop it and understand if we continue it in any way, and then, fight amongst ourselves and divide amongst ourselves, we're playing into who's ever trying to take over from the top.
Because Audrey, what I've noticed as I've gotten older in my 52 years of life, that we're all got a lot of sameness. There's like 5 or 6 things we all want. That's the same across the board. Like that, no matter how old you are, or race, or sexual orientation, or
Wow.
whatever. I feel like there are 5 or 6 things we all want. And if we can get back to that, I think we can start somewhere, right?
I think that is amazing because I think we all suffer the same.
Right.
And that's what I'm not, when no one's above anybody else
I agree.
when it comes to grief and suffering. We're all the same. Yes, the stories may change,
Right.
but we're all the same. And we all want, I work, in a treatment center,
Right.
and I work with very, very affluent, rich, successful people who come in, and I've seen more money than God. And I asked them yesterday, seriously, like, how was the money for you? Did it bring you happiness? And around the table, everyone said no, because what they're searching for is peace from the suffering. And there we were all together, rich, semi-rich, not enough, and
Right.
there it was. We were all wanting inner peace and authenticity and to sleep well at night. And that's what makes us all the same, which is incredible. So it ain't about the money.
It really, it
It's
really
not,
isn't. I was just trying to explain to somebody once. I go, I made good money. I remember 15 years ago, I was making like $300,000 a year, living my life in San Francisco in a nice condo, and I was the most unhappy I had been in my entire life. And I couldn't believe it either. I'm in it. Couldn't believe that. I was drinking every night just to get through the day. The day stunk to me, so to speak. And the weekends, I was looking forward to the weekend. Wait till Friday, came at 5 o'clock. Like, who lives their life that way? Well, millions of people live their life that way.
Yeah, you're making me think of something. Oh, you're making me think of
Oh,
something,
good.
James, that came up. That one of the things we suffer from, especially this holiday season, is this idea on social media when people post pictures
Yes.
and they look so happy,
Yes.
and they're with families and it's
Yes.
all looking so good, and people say, well, I don't have that. Be careful of that.
Yes.
Everyone has something. And though we're smiling and we have that, great turkey in the middle of the table, and it looks like, I've had people post on Facebook and then come over and they're fighting in my office.
Yeah,
And I go,
exactly.
"Oh,
Of course, exactly.
That's a different picture."
Yeah.
So we have to stop comparing.
Yes. Yes. I think
Right?
the thing about social media, I just want to say one thing about social media, folks. It's curated. Everyone's pages are curated. What you see on your phone or computer or whatever, on those pages, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or anywhere else, it's curated pictures. They chose to put that picture up
Yes.
for
Very
a
true.
reason.
That's right.
And so what Audrey's saying is, behind that, everyone has their stuff. So just
Yes. And I used to be really into the subject of media and the damage that it's done to all of us,
yes.
Especially women, and,
Yes.
not being young enough, pretty enough,
Oh, yeah.
skinny enough.
Oh, yeah.
And I was part of that. It was one of my fights that, watch what you see in the media and the commercials and all that. But because of COVID, I think the media has somehow saved us too.
Yes. Right. Yes.
And I think it's amazing that we've had it. So I'm kind of like, grateful for it.
I like about this, Audrey. It's a good question to actually ask you.
Yeah.
I always feel like we technology-wise, we advance faster than we do emotionally
True.
as society. So do you agree with that statement?
Oh, yes. And for everything, there's always a price.
Yep.
It's like, you take medication and then you have an effect of it too. There's no shortcuts in life, and we have to learn that, right? People
Yeah.
always ask me, well, should I take antidepressants? Should I take drugs? They're only temporary. And so, you know, there's always a price for everything. So, yes, social media is great, but also, you know, you become obsessed with someone, that's a problem now too with celebrities. You know, there's this obsession and all
Yes.
that. So, you want to be balanced and not be extreme in things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a tell. I think we advance so well, and then we just haven't caught up to, like, we're just like we're ready for it mechanically, but like it's like emotionally, like I said, it's causing all these things. And so this holiday season, as you're saying, okay, now we're gearing up. We have the identifiers. These are the folks that are going to try to trigger those buttons and everything. We're going to go. So then once you
Oh,
decide,
wait, you got to have an exit plan.
okay, that's what I ask you. I'll say what's the next step. So what's the next step? So you have that. So Auntie so and so, grandma, cousin, dad, mom, sister, brother. Okay, you identify them. What's next?
Exit plan. Always good to have an exit plan, even on a date,
Yes,
right? When you're meeting someone and you met online, have an exit plan.
yes,
Okay. And that means you can say at the beginning when you walk in, oh, I have another party to go to, or I have to get up early in the morning. I have to work tomorrow. And say that so you kind of like put it out there. So if it really gets tough on you, you already said it and you say, see, I need to leave.
yeah.
I have to get up early tomorrow. I'm working tomorrow or something. And make sure that you can exit, sometimes come in your own car.
Oh yeah, that's yes.
You know
I'll
what I
meet
mean?
you there. I'll
Yeah.
meet you there. Yeah.
But do not stay anywhere where it's really tough. Don't do that to yourself. We don't have to do that. Do
That's good.
not stay and suffer.
Because a lot of folks will go, well, I said I promised to go on this date, so I might as well just stick it out. It's like, why are you sticking it out? I mean, there's nothing to stick out. The day is to find out if you actually have something there. If nothing's there or something's not working out for you, then you say you excuse yourself and say thank you very much, or whatever. I mean, whatever you said, you don't have to
Yes.
stick it out just because or they invited me out. So what is this people pleasing thing that we all do? It seems like it's just this whole thing where it's just all about the other person.
And that's, I say, dangerous, the two O's. The
Too
two
old.
O's. The others and the outside world. Now, if you can find your way out of that one and stay neutral to what other people do to you, that's power. And that is an energy thing that we all need to do, is to stay in our own power, which is to not give away our power and not let others take it. So those are the two O's, the outside world and others. Watch the percentage that you allow that in your life. And whose life are you living? Are you living your own life, or are you living to please your parents who may even have left the planet and they're still connected to you and you're still living under that kind of rule?
Yeah, yeah.
Or have you been indoctrinated into a religious belief system that you have to be good and you have to be nice, right?
Right.
And then you end up, it's the law of diminishing returns. When
Yeah.
you sacrifice yourself for something like that, you will pay the price. So we have to watch that. Sovereignty of the self, laws and boundaries of self-love and self-care. We could spend 20 years in therapy, or we could just make a good boundary. So I would say to your audience, what boundary are you going to start living by? Mine is, I don't let anybody treat me badly. I don't care if you're father, mother, sister, brother,
Right.
friend, it's just not allowed.
Right.
So we could heal everything with boundaries. So that's a good thing to do.
So
How to
setting a
heal.
boundary, I mean, I agree with you. So I want to make sure for the audience, like some people say, so setting a boundary isn't, you're not trying to like set a wall up, so to speak. It's actually trying to bring the walls down by setting a boundary and actually working on what is this.
The boundary is the boundary of self-love.
There you go.
See, sovereignty of the self, how you take care of yourself. Do you know how powerful that is when you want to manifest something? For all those that want their dreams to come true, that job, that relationship, it all comes down to self-love. It really does. Self-love is the jewel. And so if you're living to please other people, you don't have enough self-love. You're needing outside validation. And you know how powerful it is to not need outside validation? Or if you're looking for a relationship, to not need it? Then it can magnetize and come to you. You see? But when you're leaning forward, the other person goes away. When you lean back, the other person can come forward. So I do a lot of work on how do we manifest our dreams. You see, it's not necessarily law of attraction, James. I'm sorry, that's very primitive kindergarten. Okay. No offense to those great teachers. We have a lot to learn from them. But I think it's the law of mastership, the law of soul growth. That's the way it is. What serves your soul growth? And that's what we manifest. People are sometimes confused. Why is this happening to me? I did everything good.
Oh, right.
Right? I did everything good. How come this is, you know how many times people wonder, how could that happen to me? Well, maybe it's a past life. Maybe it's karma. Maybe it's because it serves your soul. It's the best thing that could happen to you. So that's why I look at the soul. My contribution is the soul piece, because it lifts us up to ask the deeper questions.
Yeah.
Why now? Why is this happening? Why did I meet this person?
Right.
You know, see, those are the higher, like you're on a carpet above the planet, reaching up to the higher things. And we all have to ask those higher questions. When we get stuck in 3D reality, we are in pain. We get stuck in the family, the identity. Well, this happened, right? So who are you without the family wound? Who are you without your identity? Who are you without labeling yourself a drug addict or an alcoholic? You see, that's the spiritual answer. I am the light of 1,000 suns. I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. Who are you without the Maya, the third dimensional earthling traumas?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And I think also all the time in my business, I'm in Hollywood, so in my business, the door closes, this door, I'm like, the doors are closing so that your path is more narrow to what you need.
Amen.
That's what it is.
Amen.
That wasn't meant for you. That wasn't meant for you. That was not going to serve you. We're trying to get you to where the path is to get you where you need to go.
That's right. Now, if you decide you want to be in a higher vibration and live in a higher light, everything that's down here, you know, you can try and lift them up. Say, come on, let's go. Right. You could try again. But it comes to a certain point where you have to say, okay, bye-bye. This is not. And also the universe might come in and pull somebody away from you because it's not the same frequency. And people are concerned. Why did I get fired? Why did I lose that job? Because you weren't moving your butt.
Right.
And something better for you. So get on that train of authenticity, like a man whose hair is on fire wants a pond. Stay on that, commit to that amazing train, and don't get off of it, no matter if it zigzags, left, get off. Keep getting back, because it will always lead you to something magical out of the blue.
That's what I agree.
Right? That's the way the path works.
Right.
Heal to grow. We heal our issues. We manifest our issues and what we need to learn. And the same thing in relationships. When you want a soulmate, watch out, because everything is going to come for healing.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. I agree with that, because I'm just in my career, my personal life, I've seen things just come to me because I'm accepting everything. And I am setting boundaries for this. I literally, this is not even to brag or nothing. I have no drama in my life at the moment, like in terms of no family stuff. I mean, I'm getting along with folks I haven't gotten along with in years. We're getting along great. I have some good friendships. I've pared down some friendships. I've made the circle is smaller, but it's much more, it's mightier. I always call it, it's smaller but mightier. Um,
How did
I
you
work
do it, James? How did you do it?
something clicked. I always call it the click. I got tired. I got tired of fighting. It
I
just
see.
feels like you're always pushing that old story, pushing that rock up the hill and it kept falling down. But the boulder up the hill, it kept running. It felt like that's what I was doing. It was being counterproductive
So
to
did
what
you
I
make a
want.
decision to
I
not
did. Oh, I
do?
did.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh no,
So that's the thing.
that's what I was leading to. I got tired of it. They clicked up and said, "I'm done. That's enough."
Yeah.
Literally, that's enough. Like I said it out loud, that's enough. And I started meditating over the pandemic. I started that. So I've been meditating for a year and a half now, every morning for an hour. I love it. It's changed my life completely. But that was one of the first clicks that happened. Okay, James, we gotta go inward. There's still some more work to do. I'm tired of fighting. Like I'm just literally tired of fighting. Like
Wow.
it's not working. Whatever is going on right now, it's not working.
So it's the power of that is amazing. The decision and the power of saying no
Yeah.
or saying I'm done. Enough. Enough.
Enough.
No. Yeah. That's
Literally.
powerful. Yeah, those are powerful words.
See, I didn't know, Audrey, I could say that. I didn't know I could say no or enough. I didn't know if those were words and feelings I could have and be okay at
I
first. I
think
didn't know that.
because we grew up in that self-sacrifice,
Yes.
take care of others, which is very nice and
Yes.
very important. And
Yeah.
it comes out of the heart.
Yeah.
But, people always ask me, isn't self-love selfish? I always get that question. I'm like, it's unbelievable. Why do you think it's selfish? It's self-full because, like on the plane, you have to take care of,
Mhm.
yourself first before you can save anybody else. And it's like being the lighthouse and then inspiring others to do the same. You become an example, but we're so used to like trying so hard to fix people. And
So
that's tiring because some people don't want to stop drugs, don't want to
you
stop
know,
alcohol and say, leave me alone. So we have to hear that and say, okay, let it be.
and go that
I'm gonna let it be free. I'm
let
gonna
me free.
let you go
Right.
because when we have a soul path, sometimes we can't take people with us.
That's what I heard. I heard that before. I heard that before. I've heard that kind of thing of where, you are everyone's down their lanes. You may go this way. I mean, that's literally it's almost like we said, bring down a simple talk. You're going this direction, that person's going that. That's just how it is. And you can't try to make them go this direction with you. Or you shouldn't go that direction with them. Like you both need to stay on where you're going.
Yes. And another thing is to stay centered and to have a practice like you shower and have a cup of coffee in the morning, right? And I'm not saying this has to take long, but you got to plug in the iPhone cord to the sun and the light. You got to stay connected to source. And this is what Einstein and the great scientists and Van Morrison did, which is the music of the spheres. They were in between sleeping and waking, and they connected up to these higher realms where they got information that was beyond the mind, you see? And we've been staying too long in the mind.
Yes.
And I've heard this the other day, the mind has the questions and the heart has the
That's
answers.
the answer. Yes.
You see, so we're a world that thinks the brain and consciousness is not in the brain. And we will find that it is beyond the brain. And as spiritual beings, it is time that we stop giving first billing to the mind.
I agree with that.
Right.
I've heard something similar. I heard something similar like that. The
Right.
heart has, heart is where we should be coming from more often than
The
not.
heart is where the intuition is, James, and we all have the power to open up the intuition and to surrender and say, lead the way. And everyone should experiment with this. People ask, well, how much action should I take? And how much surrender should I take? Okay. I always get that question. It's kind of both, but sometimes when you want to find your life, your soulmate, your life purpose, you have to sit on the couch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to go like this.
Yes.
And you have to say, okay, universe, show me the way and wait to see what happens. And those out of the blue things is where the magic is. Those things is how I found my husband, how I found my career, always
Me
out
too.
of the blue.
Yep,
And
me
we're
too.
so used to like doing. And it's a time of being, you know, we have to connect to that still small voice in the soul, in the heart. And if we're running around distracted, we won't hear it. There's too much noise, right?
I agree. I agree. I totally agree with that. This holiday season, folks, we want you to be healthy and as sane as you can be, and like I said, walk through with compassion and like you said, you know, identify who may give you some interesting stuff may happen to you. Find a way to not let it affect how you are and your reactions, right? We got to find, you got to find ways, like maybe there's an extra strategy or saying, let's talk about it. You know, you think I'm fat, so what does that mean? Like, let's talk about that. Why do you keep saying that? Is that something you just say, or is that something you really feel? Like you said, sometimes it's good to talk things out, because I've had things where I was afraid to, but I'm glad I said it, and actually it got better. Actually, it's really great. Or it may go another direction. I won't say bad, just go another direction. That's still good. That's
Yeah, you bring up a good point about the truth sets us free.
yes,
And, you know, healing to me is not complicated, you know.
right.
I work in a mental health place too, and I just say, well, you need to talk to your father and mother, and
Yes,
you need to tell them exactly what you didn't say, and
yes,
you'll see how healing and simple that is.
yes,
And I just had that yesterday where someone felt incredibly free because they spoke
yes,
up. Speak up.
yes,
So much of our pain is from not telling someone, I need to say this to you, and I never did.
yes.
You
I
see?
mean, why do they folks all the time are saying when someone dies, I wish I could have said this, or I wish I'd said
Yes.
that. It's always the unspoken,
Yes. The
right? And
unspoken.
so yeah, so it's like
Very true.
all my healing came from every person I had an issue with. They know exactly where I stood or stand at any given time. They know.
Mhm.
My father, grandmother, whoever I had problems with, they all know where I come from. And you know, I feel better.
That's correct. Because the truth is really good for people.
Yeah.
There's a saying, you know, with harm to none. Of course, we don't want to harm people. But when people have crossed the boundaries and we let them enable them and let them get away with it, that's not good. The truth is self-loving, to say, listen, I'm not going to be taking this anymore, or I'm not going to be holding this anymore. It's very freeing, and it'll heal the body. It really, really will. Because most illnesses, if you track them,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
there's things you didn't say
Exactly. You held it in.
and
There's one thing I
energy
come
you held in. Yeah.
You held it in. I agree. No, I agree
Right.
with that completely. I agree with it because literally there's times I feel lighter, like you physically feel
Physically.
lighter. Like wow, and I'm a big tall guy, but I mean there's times when I'm like I feel like I can walk on air, so to speak,
That's right.
because everything came out, everybody's doing fine. Maybe it was misunderstanding. Like you go fight somebody, go, oh, I didn't think that at all. Okay,
That's
I had something like that happen recently with a collaborator of mine. We do content together, and I thought one way, found out no, that wasn't it. Just that this happened over here, and that happened. It was almost like a comedy of errors. But if I hadn't said something to him, it just would have sat there. But once we said it, it's
Exactly.
fine. We're like, oh, okay, we're good. Okay, fine. Let's move on. We're good.
That's right. And some of the diseases and the
Yes, I
diagnoses
agree.
that we have, they're really like depression,
Yeah,
working with depression for going on, you know, for me, 21 years.
yeah,
It's a long time. To me, it's energy that got locked in year after year until the closet became so overloaded. And then it just activated like an atomic bomb into rage or whatever, an illness. So, anxiety to me is energy that you can go investigate and go see what's going on. And then, if someone has a specific illness, it often matches the soul issue. I had a woman who was like, get this off me. She had psoriasis. She was going like this, you know, and it turns out her father abused her and she was trying to get him off of her. So you could track it on a soul level. I do a soul diagnosis,
yeah,
you know, common sense,
yeah.
see what's really going on and track it. And it's been very, very, very helpful. Though I had another client who had a neurological problem and they couldn't really find out what it was. And I said, let's work on it. And it was like something in the hand was like this. And then I just opened her up, and then she started shaking and screaming out to her mother, I can't believe you did this. And it was just like her whole body started shaking, but it manifested in her hand in this kind of like, you see, and they didn't know what it was, but it really was her anger.
And see, and I may have told this in the last show, I can't remember, but I always tell this quick story to folks. When I was at that said job, I was making $300,000 a year, benefits, living in a husband condo, my stomach hurt every day for 6 months. And it would always hurt more when I got closer to the job. And when I gave notice and said I quit, I shit you not, 5 minutes later, my stomach stopped hurting.
That's right. See?
Trust your gut, right?
That's
Trust your
right.
guts.
Trust
I
your
learned
gut
it.
and analyze what's going on in there. You see? Because, doctors are great and
Right.
medicine is
Oh, right,
great
of
and
course,
we
of course.
respect it. But just to add a little something to it, which
Yes.
is the soul piece, which is what's going on that you need to heal in yourself. And the emotions, even Dr. John Sarno, the back doctor who didn't
Yes.
want to operate, said it was rage stuck in the body.
Audrey, I can talk to you forever. I love you so much. I can talk
I
to you.
love you too.
I
And
do, Audrey, I do. And you always give me support online, and I always give you support online. And I'm
I
so
know.
when your name came across my desk again, I was like, of course, anytime. Audrey is the best, so anytime. But thank you for your time today, and just thank you for being you. You're just amazing.
And thank you for being you. And if there's anything I could ever do, just call me.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
I
like
will
to
do that.
help people. Okay.
Yes, she's good. So for the folks out there though who might want to contact you, how can they contact you?
AudreyHope.com or on my YouTube, Audrey Hope Now.
Yeah.
They could sign up on my mailing list and stuff I'm doing. So yeah.
So I'll put those both in the description, folks, down there. She can go there and just go right to her and see what she's talking about. And I said, like I said again, she has my endorsement. I just whatever she says, I'm like, yes, I agree. I agree.
Keep up the great work, James.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And anyways, my sign off. I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow. I forget where I am. I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me anywhere where James Lott Jr.'s are. I'm all over the place, so follow my shows. My website's alotofhelp.com, and everyone, please, and everyone have a great holiday season if you can. Look out for yourself. Go in care, compassion, and concern for yourself. Just please, you like she said, you're number one, and you can't be any good to anyone else if you don't take care of yourself. And that is the
Amen.
truth.
Amen.